What Nvidia stock investors should know about 2025. I mean, Nvidia stock has become one of the best AI stocks year to date. The stock is up over 190%. But can this continue? On today's episode, I want to take a closer look at some questions that every Nvidia stock investor should have and should kind of keep a tab on for the next year or so. So let's get started. But before we go any further, make sure to hit the thumbs up, make sure to hit the subscribe button, check out the pinned comment for special offer at fool.com/Jose, and check out my free daily semiconductor newsletter, whatthechip.happened.com.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for the subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right, so we can see Nvidia, like I mentioned, is up 190% year to date. Unfortunately though, in the past 6 months, the stock has been pretty much flat, only up 10%, right? But if, like I've talked about it, Nvidia is one of those stocks that I believe is great for the patient investor. And just to start off, I believe for 2025, this case is going to be the same, where there might be some areas sometimes where the stock doesn't give us much returns when looking at it in a time frame like we see here in 6 months, but there are going to be opportunities. Maybe we're not going to get the opportunities where the stock drops to 100. It's not impossible, but like I mentioned, Nvidia is going to be one of those stocks that is going to be meant for patient investors. And the first question investors should know or should kind of keep in track of for the upcoming quarters and upcoming earnings is how is CapEx shifting, right? Because the biggest customers for Nvidia in forms of their AI chip solutions are big players like Microsoft, like Nvidia, like Meta, like Amazon, like Google, right? So the first question that I think investors should have for 2025 and should kind of understand throughout every earnings is how is CapEx shifting? Are these mega tech giants still investing heavily in AI infrastructure? I personally believe the answer is going to be yes. They're still going to be spending a lot of money. And the reason I believe that is because we're still in the early innings of AI, and we are hearing about all these big data center companies building massive data centers in the upcoming years. And those massive data centers need to be built out and have some filled in with a lot of AI accelerators. And I believe Nvidia is going to be the main winner here. So that's the first question. How is CapEx shifting? And every time we have earnings, that should be the number one question. Now, the number two question I think investors need to have is how is competition shifting? And how is competition evolving? Right now, the two biggest competitors, if you kind of believe in any competition for Nvidia, is AMD and the ASIC market, which are companies like Broadcom, like Marvell, that help big tech players develop their own AI chips for their own needs, right? And I've talked about it. I've done plenty of videos of how ASIC solutions are different from what Nvidia provides, right? Because it's not really a true competition, but they will eat some of the wallet share of AI CapEx, right? It's not going to take out of Nvidia, in my opinion. I believe this market is growing at such a rapid levels that even if ASIC gets bigger wallet market spending, so will Nvidia. But how is competition from ASIC and AMD doing? And this is something that we're seeing, right? Amazon developing their own AI chip, Broadcom delivering great revenues. How is that shifting throughout the quarters? And if we look at the past 6 months, right, while Nvidia has been flat, I'm pretty sure if we look at other players like Marvell and like Broadcom, in the past 6 months, these stocks are up over 54%. And one of the favorites here in the channel is Marvell, and in the past 6 months is up over 70%. So again, how are they doing and doing the upcoming earnings? This is something we're going to have to keep an eye out. I believe the market will create will make any titles a little bit more explosive than they really are. We're going to continue to hear things, especially for Broadcom. I believe if you look at Broadcom here, Nvidia stock investors just got bad news from AI semiconductor rival Nvidia. And you're going to continue to see headlines like that where you're going to believe, and the market's going to believe, that the real competition for Nvidia are kind of these ASIC solutions. I don't think that's the case, but I do believe we have to keep a closer eye on them. And we have to understand how they're evolving over time. because maybe not this year, but 5, 10 years from now, this could probably be something that might combat NVIDIA's current GPUs. And I think that's why the third question, in my opinion, is how is NVIDIA still innovating? And I believe a great event is going to be NVIDIA's GTC event of 2025. We've talked about it in a previous episode where we have heard reports that NVIDIA's Grace Blackwell 300 or the GB300 Ultra, which is also the Blackwell Ultra, is coming out 6 months ahead of schedule, or kind of 6 months after the Grace Blackwell. We might have it in Q3 of 2025. Here at GTC event, which is only 3 months away, I'm gonna see if maybe I can go. I'm gonna see if they might give me some access to this. I'm not a big YouTuber that I could kind of request access like that, but who knows? Maybe it might be possible. But during GTC here of NVIDIA, we're gonna hear what NVIDIA has to do about the AI evolution, and we're gonna continue to see any advancements in AI technology, which is gonna be a crucial topic in my opinion. While the event normally tends to be more of like sell the news in the short term, right? I believe a few days before this event, a week before this event, you're going to see stock prices jump up dramatically as you're going to get this excitement for GTC. Right after, we might see kind of a stock price decrease. But in the long term of things, right, as a long-term investor, GTC is very, very important. So how is AI in NVIDIA innovating? We've heard from various podcasts in the past few days that NVIDIA is probably one of the most paranoid companies in the world. Jensen is probably one of the most paranoid CEOs in the world. And because of that paranoia, it allows him to make sure that the company is innovating at such rapid speeds. So that's overall bullish. And one of their biggest moats is obviously their software innovation with things like CUDA and continuing to be a big player in the software evolution. So GTC and how they're innovating is going to be a very important question. From what I'm seeing, I don't think competition is anywhere close. I don't think anyone's getting anywhere close to how NVIDIA is going to innovate. But again, things can change in a few months because this is such an evolving market that my thoughts of how I'm seeing things right now could be different 6 months from now. And that's why as NVIDIA investors, we need to keep a close eye out on these questions for 2025. Now, question number 4 is how is supply chain shifting? Right now, we know that some of the biggest supply chain hurdles are things like advanced packaging from TSMC. We've heard that that's going to improve dramatically in the upcoming quarters. We have to keep questioning how is that going. At least every quarter, has it really improved? What kind of other updates do they have, or upgrades or expansion do they have in advanced packaging? Are there other players that can help NVIDIA in advanced packaging? Can Intel's kind of advanced packaging solutions be another way that NVIDIA can increase its overall capacity of supply? Are other players also entering in kind of the CoWoS market, which is the supply constraint market? So how is the advanced packaging supply chain improving? Not only that, another kind of hurdle seems to be kind of high bandwidth memory. How are companies like SK Hynix and Micron doing in this evolution of HBM? Are they innovating fast enough for NVIDIA, or are they kind of lagging behind, causing or giving the ability for competitors to catch up, right? Because right now, NVIDIA is evolving at such a rapid pace that all these other companies need to innovate with them so competitors don't really catch up. So how is the supply chain working? Are there any supply chain effects? And to me, the two biggest supply chains are any issues with advanced packaging, is that improving? Any issues with HBM? But overall, NVIDIA's products are such a huge complex product that we also need to find out if there's any innovation supply chain issues in any other industry. Luckily, I want to say for all these other industry or segments that NVIDIA requires, there's a lot of competition in those industries. And if there's a lot of competition in those industries, it means there's a lot of product and a lot of ability to be able to offshore other products that go, other components, right? So maybe in the optics side, how the optics market is evolving might be pretty important. So those might be the 3 big markets to look at: HBM, advanced packaging, and the optics space for AI accelerators. But the supply chain is going to be a very, very important question. Another important question that I think NVIDIA stock investors should have is NVIDIA entering new markets, right? We keep hearing reports that NVIDIA might be making a CPU, and we might hear it during CES event happening in less than 2 weeks. So if they are entering in this new market, what is this total addressable market? What are the margins in this market? What are the revenue potentials in this market? And if it does enter, this could be a reason why NVIDIA might beat expectations, right? So is NVIDIA going to enter any forms of new markets? And new markets can also come in through acquisitions. Is NVIDIA going to be making any acquisitions? We know from NVIDIA's balance sheet that they have plenty and plenty of cash. Let's look at cash and short-term investments really quick on a quarterly basis. Roughly $40 billion in cash. And if we look at free cash flow on a quarterly basis, free cash flow is about $17 billion. And I believe that's going to continue. This upcoming quarter will probably get closer to 20 billion. So NVIDIA is going to be growing that cash at rapid levels. What is it going to do? Is it going to enter new markets through acquisition? Is it going to be doing more research and development to create? Remember, NVIDIA is a market creator to create new markets. So understanding how NVIDIA is evolving and what new industries it might be picking out will be very important for investors. The final question, in my opinion, is how is AI evolving, right? And this is going to be crucial, right? Because if AI stop, and it's kind of going to lead to everything else that we discussed. How is AI evolving? If there is a slowdown in AI, this is obviously going to cause some hurdles and kind of decrease the demand for NVIDIA solutions. Luckily, right now, it seems like things are still moving in different directions, especially with things like inference time learning right now, right? So things like ChatGPT o1 and the new recently announced in forms of performance o3 gives showcase that AI is innovating. We're also hearing about new market opportunities like the robotics market. How quickly is the robotics market in forms of autonomous AI solutions improving? How quickly is autonomous driving improving, right? How are AI solutions being incorporated into software shifting throughout the upcoming year, right? So we need to make sure that AI innovation continues to go. And right now, there's a lot of big players, a lot of competitors players in this space, right? We have Elon with XAI. They just recently raised about $6 billion, right? That shows confidence that they believe that they need to continue to invest because this AI market is still going at rapid paces. We've heard from Microsoft and all these other players that AI is still innovating. But again, this market came out so quickly. So we have to keep questioning that at least for the next few months. Hey, 6 months from here, let's re-see. How is AI innovating? Is there any major shift that we didn't have about 6 months ago? And from recent podcasts, it seems like AI innovation is going to start growing at faster rates than it has before. So, and all those faster rates, how is that going to change things like the computing needed for these AI solutions? How is AI innovating? How are products being innovated? Is it entering into the consumer market? Are scientists getting better at more efficient ways to kind of generate new AI solutions, therefore requiring less NVIDIA GPUs? So the great thing about NVIDIA is that this is a market that's not going to be boring, right? This is a market that is going to continue to innovate, and we're going to continue to get daily news. The bad thing with NVIDIA is this is such a quick changing market that in forms of prices, the volatility is going to be very, very high, as you're going to have moments where you might hear some things that could definitely impact NVIDIA in either the positive or negative direction. This doesn't happen to boring markets, right? This doesn't happen to your typical phone business. This doesn't happen to your grocery store business. It doesn't happen to your oil business. It only happens here, and the fun can only really be found here in the semiconductor space. So those are going to be my questions that I'm going to have as a 2025 investor. Right now, things are looking very bullish from what I'm reading, but that doesn't mean things are going to go on a straight line. I always believe one quarter can give us a mixed story or mixed feelings, but understanding the long-term things is better in my opinion. So I'm not saying NVIDIA is going to go up straightly, but what I'm looking at right now, NVIDIA definitely has the opportunity to be a bigger company by the end of 2025. So let me know, what are your thoughts? What are some of the questions you're going to have for NVIDIA coming up in 2025? And also, do you guys enjoy the series? I was thinking about doing it for other companies like AMD and Micron at least. Let me know some of the comments you might have, or some companies you want me to do this. So take care, have a good day, and see you all next time.